What's up, YouTube? It is your girl Latrina, and I am back again today with another tarot spread read. And starting right off in our first row, we do get the card of the Sweetheart, as well as the Death card, which was the very first card that did come out on our spread today, was the Death card. And we get the Sweetheart with that, and we also get the Three of Cups in the reverse, which means that the celebration has come to an end. There's, been a death to this celebration. And something that was even regarding pill poppers and some kind of an STD also. And then it also speaks of making a bad move. It says those who make the first move always lose the game. The first bad move, they always lose the game. So someone made a bad move, and it was the first move. And it did put an end to their celebrations, because whenever that card comes up, it does speak of a celebration in the upright. And I'm assuming that this STD, probably put an end to the celebration in some way, regarding this community. It had something to do with the community. And then we get the emotional loss in the reverse, which is similar to the Five of Cups in the traditional tarot. There has been a death, and it may, and sometimes the death can speak of a brand new beginning also. But in this case, it looks like there's been a death to the celebrations and this pill popping. There's been a death to that. And I was, even thinking there may have been a death to a sweetheart. And there's no more community in this particular situation. The community has also come to an end. Something regarding a community has come to an end, and it does cause an emotional loss to all involved. Anytime you see the death and transformation, that, does involve an emotional loss. And then, we also next have the House card in the reverse coming out in the second row, which does speak of the Tower in the traditional tarot spread. So whenever you see that house in the reverse, that's speaking of like a significant tower to some situation, even upon a house. A tower has come upon a house, because that house card is sitting right on top of the tower in the reverse, speaking of a dirty cop and a law official. And then we get the Five of Cups also in that second row, which does, maybe speaking of something arriving, because in the upright, it's a departure. But in the reverse, something may be arriving. Maybe some kind of information about this tower that hit this house. And it's actually, someone was trying to prevent a tower also from hitting this house. And a choice that was not made, because we get the Lovers in the reverse, which in the upright, it does speak of a choice that was made. So being in the reverse, this choice was not made about some prosperity beginning, because we also get that card coming out in the second row, along with this upside down house and an arrival. And this arrival, it may be dealing with a life force and a banner that was carried by the blind. There was a banner carried to try to bring, an end to someone's life. They wanted someone to have no oxygen levels whenever I see that card coming out. And there was a choice that was not made, and I'm assuming it was regarding this house that did get a tower, a double tower in this second row. We got two towers, and both of them are in the reverse. So that does increase the significance of the severity of this structure coming down. Whenever you see that in the reverse, that's a worse tower than the upright, from what I was come to understand, come to know and learn about this tower. When it's in the reverse, it can even signify, you know, something being just severely brought down, significantly brought down with this house and this tower coming out in this same row. And it's even due to an arrival, because something arrived when it does come out in the reverse. Something did arrive, and maybe it was an arrival of a law official, because on that tower card it gives the message of a cop or a law official being dirty, but it's in the reverse. So maybe this law official is in the upright, speaking of someone that's a clean official, that actually, does what their job is. Somebody's doing their job when it comes to this tower, this house, this structure that was built. Something has arrived about that. And it has to do with some information about this house. And it did come from a law official. Whatever was brought down with this structure, with these double towers here, it came upon this situation through a law official. A law official brought this tower to this house. And maybe even, this death and this rebirth and these parties and celebrations that probably was going on inside of this home. There was a death. Maybe, it had something to do with this STD in this community. This has been coming out for the past couple days about this community, contracting an STD, and it's a pretty deadly one. It's a serious sexually transmitted disease upon this sweetheart, or, I'm not real sure who this sweetheart is in this read, but by her coming out right with this pill popper and this death to the celebrations, and then the community, she's a part of this community. This sweetheart is. She appears to be a sweetheart. But there's been a death to that appearance, because probably her true colors have been seen by this community. This community can see that this is not, or maybe this community can see a sweetheart in the situation, that someone is a sweetheart that was trying to be brought to death, trying to be, eliminated. I'm not sure if it's the sweetheart that this death came upon, but it definitely came upon the celebrations and this pill popping and this community. This death came upon this community in some way, because death can be, translated in many, many different aspects when it comes to tarot. It can just be a death to this community. Maybe they took a loss, to a particular person. Maybe it was from pill popping. Maybe that's where this death was caused from. Because I know that pill popping is not going to bring you a rebirth. You may feel, but it did put an end. This death and whatever this law official, he brought a tower to this house and this structure that was built. Something did arrive, that did, something arrived. And then we also, in this third row, we get the ecclesiastic card, which is that clergyman, or either it's a priest or some type of spiritual leader in the reverse. Along with the Page of Cups, he's coming out right on top of that Page of Cups, the spiritual leader. And then he comes out with the Page of Cups twice in that third row. We get that page. And so that speaks of a message, in my readings. And someone did, maybe it was this spiritual leader that did get a message. And it really wasn't any good news. This message wasn't good news. He probably got a couple messages, because we got 2 pages in the same exact row. And whatever message he got, is regarding a stretcher, because someone was actually trying to change their horse, change their story in the middle of the river. Someone had to change their story up, and it's probably regarding this spiritual leader. And then we get this main male coming out in the reverse, also in that third row. This main male has had to put an end. There's an end in a tower that has come to his celebrations and his rejoicing, which this is the 3 of Cups again. In this tarot spread, we get 2 of them, because we get a 3 of Cups right here in this first row, which speaks of an end to the celebrations. They're both in the reverse. Both depictions of the 3 of Cups comes out in the reverse today. So there's a definite tower to this structure and these parties that's been going on, in this house. Or these parties may be going on about a house, They were celebrating. Like I said, they were tossing it up. They had a little pill popping. They had some drinks, and they was having celebrations, when it comes to this. This community was in celebrating with pills and drinks and even STDs. Is what caused these pill poppers to celebrate. I wonder if this thing is still, the light cut off on me. It was causing probably my batteries too low.